Hey, ladies, welcome to episode 22 of the Health, Life, and More podcast for women with me, your host, Jennifer D'Amato. Ladies, I'm so excited about this interview today. Afton Porter is a dear friend of mine. She's also an amazing mom to 4 kiddos, a wife, and she is our fashion mentor. Yes! Afton, once upon a time, worked for Calvin Klein and has stepped back into the realm of fashion. And this time, she is taking us back into our closets. She's helping us build confidence with the clothes that we have, finding our own style, who we are when we wear our clothes. She is the creator of the Style Guide Society, where she is helping women 40 and over find their style, find their confidence, and learn what works for them and their lifestyle. Ladies, you are going to want to hear this. You might be listening, go, but Jen, I'm not 40 yet. Let me tell you, there are some golden nuggets in this interview that every woman needs to hear. Are you guys ready? All right, let's go. Welcome to the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast with certified health and life coach, mom of 4, and just all-around lover of all things 80s, your host, Jennifer D'Amato. Buckle in, let's get started. Hey, Afton, I'm so glad to have you on the podcast today. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Thank you, Jen, for having me. I'm excited to be here. I am a fashion stylist and I help moms look and feel their best. I work with them on what kind of clothing they wear because there is actually a lot of science behind the clothing that we choose to wear. And I know as a mom for so long, I did not pay any attention to what I was wearing and I didn't realize I was missing out on the superpower of clothing. When we wear certain clothes, we behave a certain way without even realizing it. And so when we aren't paying attention or thinking or caring about what we wear, then we are doing ourselves a disservice. So I help moms look and feel their best and help them find the clothing that's going to give them their.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Clothing superpower. I mean, yes, please. All of it. I think you and I probably lived fairly parallel lives. You know, we both have 4 kids.
Yes.
And we've been through the seasons of the dirty diapers. I'm pretty sure I wore as much spit up as my kids did, right?
Yes.
We weren't thinking about clothing as a superpower. We were thinking about, is this clean or dirty? Can I wear this today?
Exactly. Barely trying to
Yes.
breathe during those little baby stages. It's hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Afton, would you say, I mean, we can talk about our style or maybe our fashion evolving through the seasons of our life. That's something that happens just because you're, mom with infants, mom with, grown teens, all of that. But what other ways would you say you see women's fashion, how it shifts and changes other than the baby factor?
So as we age, the clothing that we pull that we want to wear changes quite a bit, I feel like, which is why I started the Style Guide Society, is because I felt like, as a mom over 40, I wasn't wearing a lot of the things that the younger 20 girls were wearing. They look super cute, but that just wasn't appropriate. I don't know if appropriate doesn't sound like the right word, but what the 20s were wearing wasn't something that I would choose to wear in my 40s, even though they looked very stylish and cute. I just feel like our bodies change a little bit and our lifestyle changes. And so our clothing reflects that.
I agree so much. And I think a huge struggle is really when you do reach 40, not that I love the clothes. I mean, I go in the stores with my teens and I can fit in the clothes, but is this something that I want to walk out in? It doesn't feel like this season of life to me when I have those clothes on. So you mentioned the Style Guide Society, this group that you have. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I have a private Facebook group called the Style Guide Society. And in there, I teach women how to organize their closet, how to find their personal style. The purpose of the group is for a community of women to have a safe place to ask questions, is really what it is. I teach where my goal is for it to be a community where women can ask questions and talk about any kind of, problems that they're having with like their body image, finding clothing, because these are places where people might be intimidated to put that out there on a public page, even might not even want to ask their best friend. So it's a community where people can go in and talk about things that they wouldn't necessarily want to talk to anybody else about.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So they can even bring their concerns, their struggles like, hey, I'm going shopping for this event and I don't know what kind of things to wear, or I'm not feeling confident even in what I'm wearing. And they can bring those things up in that private group.
Yes. And I get a lot of these questions in private DMs that just keep kind of popping up a lot. Like, I feel like my stomach is too big and how to style that. And if we posted it in the forum, then other people can learn from that. Cause people feel that way. Everyone has their insecurities that they want to try to fix, but are kind of embarrassed to ask those questions, but they feel safe in a private group. And so I love teaching women about how to bring out their beauty, their personal beauty, because there's just too many women who don't realize their own worth, their own beauty. And so it's just a lot of fun.
I love it. And I love being part of the Style Guide Society and everything that you're putting out there. You mentioned a couple of things, and I'd love my listeners to be able to learn a little bit more about them. You talked, first of all, about this idea of finding your personal style. And I know you have, kind of some bullet points, some things that go into women finding their personal style. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. A lot of the times women might have had a personal style when they're younger, or maybe they didn't. But then kind of like we talked about, they go through the young motherhood years and their focus is on their children and feeding mouths and getting laundry done and all that. And then when their youngest kind of get a little bit older, they're able to breathe and they're ready maybe to, maybe they have to go get a job. Maybe they can finally breathe, or maybe they're just fed up of not feeling blah, and they're ready to take care of themselves a little bit and do some self-care. So in there to help them find their personal style, I go through what I call the closet shop, or shop your closet. And they go through and get rid of the clothes in their closet that they don't wear, don't like, they bought because they got a really good deal on it. I find too many women buying clothes that are on sale, and then the tags are still attached, but they really don't like it. They are like, oh, that's worth $5 or that's worth $20 or whatever the sale price is, but they didn't really love it enough to pay full price for it. And then they buy it on sale, put it in their closet, and they really don't wear it. And so I work with the women on making sure that they have clothes in their closet that they love and they wear. And that's kind of the first step, is because my desire for them is to wake up, be excited to go in their closet, just like it was a store, because everything in there is something that they would wear and they love. They love the color, they love the cut. And I know that 100% of the closet is probably unrealistic, but the truth is American women are only wearing 20% of their closet.
Oh my God,
And
20%?
20%. And so my goal is to flip flop that. Let's wear 80% of the closet. Like that's my goal. If we could just learn to buy the clothes that we know that we're going to wear, that we need and that we love, then we're going to be able to wear more of our closet. We will save money. We will save a lot of time if we could just get that right.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, Afton, my listeners know this, and I know you do too, is I'm recording this episode in my closet.
That's right.
And I'm looking to my right going, Afton is so right. I could probably just pick out the few items that I wear and the rest of it just sits there.
Yeah, you won't miss it if it were to go. But we are emotionally tied to sometimes certain pieces of clothing and sometimes having a certain amount of clothing. That's why women have a closet full of clothes and they wake up and they think, I've got nothing to wear. I've got nothing to wear today.
Afton, you're getting my heart right now. Like I'm feeling this so deeply. And I have a feeling my listeners are too, because they're picturing their closets right now going, yeah, that's me too. I have nothing to wear yet. I have all these clothes.
Yeah, it's common.
You had this great series recently in the Style Guide Society called Shop Your Closet. That series was so amazing. Can you give the listeners your favorite tips when they are starting to dive into their closet and do some of this work that you're suggesting?
So I just recommend they just deal with the clothes that are hanging. I know that we have drawers and other areas that we might have some clothing, but if you just focus on the hanging clothes first, it will be easier to go back into your drawers that you may have. But I just recommend that they touch every hanger and look at the pieces that are on there and decide if they like the cut, the color, and the style. And if they know right away that they don't, then we get rid of that and we donate it or you sell it. The clothing that you're unsure of, I still feel like that they should get it out of their closet, but put it in a tub or a bag and get it out of sight. And go back to it in, 3 to 6 months and see if you missed it, if you needed it. I know that some clothing is seasonal, but I still recommend to my clients to keep every season of clothing in your closet. And the reason for that is because if you take it out and just bring out seasonal, then if there is an item that you need to buy, you'll forget about it and you won't buy it, you won't buy it. Or you might have, 10 pairs of black pants and you go buy another pair forgetting that you had these winter pants put away. So I just recommend all the seasons are in your closet. And then when you walk into your closet every day or when you look in your closet every day, you are reminded of those pieces and they're not forgotten and then unworn, or if you lose a tub or whatever. So I just recommend to keep all of your clothes in your closet.
So I had this technique and that, I turned the hanger around to see if I was wearing it. And, if I put it back up, I was. And I love how you are taking that organizational tip, that kind of clearing clutter, a whole other step with what you do. I really appreciate that. And I'm dreading even looking, going, I need to do exactly what Afton is saying. Like I need to do this exercise with the clothes in my closet right now.
It usually takes a couple times before people are ready to get rid of the pieces that they should have gotten rid of the first time. But we hold on to things. We have emotional attachment to things. And a lot of those issues come up in our clothes. If we were raised poor and we didn't have a lot, then we tend, some people might tend to buy too much and not want to get rid of it, or, the opposite. And so we just have all this emotional things tied to clothing, to a lot of things, but especially to clothing. And sometimes people have to work through that as they get rid of stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I look over, even if I haven't worn it in over a year, I can see myself in the clothing and there's an event, there's something, a memory that comes up for me with it, for sure.
One thing too is if they paid a lot of money for it, it makes it harder to get rid of too. Or I'm gonna lose 10 pounds and then I could wear that. Like they just hold on to sizes that are either too big or too small.
This is so good. And I have a personal physical transformation where going through that part, I mean, I literally felt like I was, I lost weight, but I was losing money. I mean, there was stacks of clothes that I finally had to let go of. It's like letting go of a piece, a season of your life for sure. And then, of course, I was faced with, I have to go buy new clothes, which invokes a whole other set of thoughts.
Yes.
Up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in my late 30s and I was starting to gain a little bit more weight than I had previously. And it was so irritated. And I'm thin. So when I would complain about gaining weight, people would give me that look or, yeah, you could gain weight. I'm like, maybe, but I have to buy new clothes and I don't want to have to do that.
Right. There's a lot of people I know who enjoy that experience way more than I do. The actual buying of clothes. And maybe that's partly because I haven't done what you suggest, within your group about finding your personal style. And I'm not even sure, what my taste is anymore. Like, I feel like I've lost sight of that piece of me.
And it could have changed too. So I think that is a very common thing. And I kind of think of it as refashioning women. We're finding our fashion and maybe it's changed over the course of the years too, like we talked about earlier, that we just, don't wear the same clothes. And not that you couldn't, but a lot of our taste does change and we're different people. We're not the same person when we were 20. And a lot of that is just, some of that is what we tend to gravitate naturally to like maybe you're sportsy, maybe you like to wear like the sports clothes, or maybe you like to wear flowers and more ruffles, or stripes, more natural, bold lines. There's just like different styles that people naturally tend to go to. And that will show up a lot of times in what's already in your closet. But it's hard to tell if you have a bunch of clothes in there that you've bought, maybe on sale, that you don't really love, and they're in your closet, and it's hard to see what you truly love when you have all those other things in there.
This goes right in line with something I teach, where you can't have clarity when you have clutter. I mean,
yes,
it's everywhere. It's in our closet. And I got to tell you, Afton, I feel like when I look over here, there's more clutter than there is clarity, which is probably why I feel so stuck. Like, I don't even know what my taste is, because it shifted, I'd say, in the last few years so much that I haven't done the work to start to figure out what my personal style is that I desire it to be. And I end up, throwing on a pair of leggings and a t-shirt and call it good enough.
You do wear some cute clothes though.
Oh,
you look
so
stylish. You got to give yourself some credit, girl.
You just see the pictures when I do get all fancified. My daily outfit is, I'm sitting here in leggings and a long sleeve t-shirt today. Part of it is comfort. And I know you talk about lifestyle as part of this process as well. And my lifestyle is, working at home. And a lot of that is, sitting on the phone, talking to clients, recording podcasts, working on content, creating all of that. So I want to be comfortable. But dang, I don't want to wear leggings every day, but I just feel like, oh, well, it's just the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. So what I found absolutely fascinating, and where I kind of get the superpowers from, is that there's a study that was done. People were told that if they wear this doctor's coat, so it's just like a white coat, they were given a doctor's coat and they were given tests to take. And the people who wore the doctor's coat actually scored higher on the test than people who were given the exact same coat, but told it was a painter's coat. The doctor's coat people scored higher than the painter's coat. And they actually physically had to be wearing the coat. They couldn't have it by them. They couldn't have it hanging on the chair. They physically had to be wearing the coat, and they were able to score higher on the tests than the other examples that they had done. And so it's just kind of crazy how that can affect our own lives. Like when we are wearing clothes that we feel good in, when we're wearing clothes that, the reason why they scored higher on the doctor's coat is because what that doctor's coat meant to them. And it's kind of even across the board, the image that we have of doctors. And the image that you have of certain clothing or your perceived value of certain types of clothing will affect you similar as the doctor's coat. And it's not the same for me and you. It's going to be a little different. But whatever that is, when you figure out what clothing that you wear that gives you that superpower, it's going to help you show up the way that you want to in the world. It's actually really fascinating how the clothing gives us these superpowers.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. And as you were telling that, I'm picturing those mornings when I know I have certain tasks to do. I do actually choose a different outfit than the leggings and t-shirt, and I didn't even connect those dots. That's totally fascinating and crazy and so good to hear. Thank you for explaining it that way and sharing that. I think that's really useful to hear and to know. And now I'm going to be thinking about this. I can tell every morning from now on when I get dressed. This is going to be going through my head.
That's what I want. That's what I want my clients to do. I want them to wake up in the morning and not think about how they feel, but think about how they want to feel. Because so many times we wake up tired and then we go for the sweats or the sweatshirt, the very comfy clothes, when really, we want to feel more alive and awake. And so there's different clothing that we would choose for how we want to feel than if we're choosing. And it's easy to do. We just have to realize what we're doing.
Wow. So good. So good. Now, Afton, if ladies out there want to connect with you and want to gain this wisdom you have and ask those questions that they might be afraid to ask anyone else and start working through the information that you have, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
I am on all the social media platforms, but the best way to go deep with me is to request to join the Style Guide Society on Facebook and to join my email list. I send weekly email with style tips and trends, and I continue going deeper with the content that I put out on social media.
Oh, so good. Okay. And ladies, I know you're going, I need that now. Don't worry. In the show notes below, you have all the magic links that get you directly to Afton to get that request to the Style Guide Society, get on her email list, follow her on social media. You want to do this. I know it's already blessed me, Afton, by being part of the Style Guide Society. I love what you're doing in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Afton, I always ask my guests this one question about superpowers, but you've already really shared your superpower with us. So I have another kind of closing question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. There's a lot of women on here. They're doing all the things. They're trying to balance the work and life and social and just all the things like you and I are doing. And I feel like you are such a great example of the balance in life. Can you just share how you make that happen? How you balance wife, motherhood, business, all the things that our kids, are involved in? How do you find balance in that?
Well, one of the things that I do every day is I do a miracle morning. And I use that time to ponder, to read the Bible, to read another good book, and to just really focus on how I want my day to go and how I want my week to go, and just kind of do a prayer and meditate on how that's supposed to look.
That's so good. What a great way to start your day. I know a lot of individuals who use the miracle morning. I am a huge advocate for morning routine. and setting your mind and your body and your spirit right in that space. So I knew we were alike. I mean, I had no doubts in my mind that we are. I'm telling y'all, we live such amazing parallel lives, and that we connected, gosh, several years ago now. But here we are, both are with our businesses, doing this thing, balancing the things. And I mean, Afton, kind of rocking it out over here, if I do say so. We are.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we are.
Awesome.
We need to be surrounded by women who are
Mhm.
on the same track as we are to lift each other up and to just be there for each other, because that's what this is about, right? Relationships and
Yes,
trying to do the best we can.
absolutely. And part of my vision for this podcast is exactly that, which is why I knew I had to have you on here. I know you hold that same truth. And I just love it. I'm so grateful for you for spending some time with us here on the podcast. I know that my listeners are going to just be like, I needed to hear this. And they're probably going to all walk in their closets tonight going, oh boy, I really have some work to do. I better get in that Style Guide Society and on Afton's email list because I need some help in here.
Well, I'm here to help.
Awesome. Thanks again, Afton.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jennifer.
Ladies, I don't know about you, but I wish I could just have Afton over my house, come in my closet, and just really dive in deep for me, right? This was so great, so useful, and so helpful. And I highly encourage you to take it that next step further. Get on Afton's email list and join her Style Guide Society. I've been in there diving through her content and I absolutely love it. So be sure to check the show notes below to connect with her. Until next week, ladies. Hey, ladies, want to connect with me outside of this podcast? Come follow along on Instagram at Jennifer_health coach for life. That's Jennifer_health coach, the number 4 life. You can also connect with me on Facebook. Just search Jennifer Coach, the number 4 life. I also want to help you take your health, both physical and mental, to the next level. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to reclaim your body's intuition. If that's for you and you're ready for support and accountability like you've never had before, then why not book a free consultation with me by visiting my website, www.healthcoachforlife.com. That's www.healthcoach4life.com/request session. I've also made it really easy by including a link in the show notes below. For any questions about the podcast or to submit a question or topic you would like discussed here, you can email me at jenniferdamatopodcast@gmail.com.